Perfect. See some people putting in the chat. For those just joining, welcome to the CEA Custom and Faculty-Led Programs webinar. We will get started in just a couple minutes here, but please feel free to let us know in the chat where you're coming from, and we will get started in just a moment. Perfect. Well, I know we still have a couple people joining, but we are going to go ahead and get started. Thank you all for joining us today for this discussion on faculty-led and custom programs. We're very excited to talk to you about all the opportunities available for you and your faculty as we move forward into this next year. So today, and sorry, just to get started, some housekeeping notes. You all have been muted upon entry into the webinar. Please feel free to use the Q&A feature. As questions come up, we will have time at the end of the session for Q&A, but as you have questions that come up, please feel free to put them into that Q&A feature. If you're having any difficulties with tech, with hearing us or seeing the presentation, please use the chat to the all panelists and presenters, and one of my colleagues will be able to assist you. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about the custom and faculty-led process here at CEA and our specialization in developing and facilitating these programs. So to get us started, some introductions here. My name is Seth Weil. I am one of the University Relations Regional Directors here at CEA. I'm based in Philadelphia, and I work with schools in the Mid-Atlantic region. I've been working in the field of education abroad since 2012 and worked with CEA since 2019. And I'll let my colleague Emily introduce herself.
Hi there, I'm Emily Chavone. I'm based in Florence, Italy. Though I am a native Ohioan. I've been back and forth in Florence studying abroad myself until I fell into study abroad from art history. And I've been with CEA since 2008. In my current role as Center Director since 2014. Along all that path, I've been able to wear lots of hats, and currently I oversee a wonderful staff, if I do say so myself. But what we find to be some of the most satisfying and exciting work that we do is actually with custom programs. So I'm very excited to be here.
Perfect. Thanks, Emily. So let's begin by talking about CEA's experience with custom programs. Over the last 10 years, we have developed over 500 programs with 99 US institutions. This year alone, CEA will support 87 programs with 52 different universities. These programs span 14 different locations and range anywhere from 3 weeks, which is our minimum program duration, all the way to semester-long programming. They support a wide variety of academic disciplines, anywhere from fashion to engineering and everything in between. So we are really here to support any type of program to help enhance your academic offerings. We understand how much work running a custom program requires, and we are passionate about supporting our university partners as you utilize custom programs to facilitate education abroad opportunities for your students. So the development and management of our custom and faculty-led programs is a greatly collaborative process. It's a collaborative process across all aspects of the CEA program, but as well as a collaborative process with our university partners. This is first and foremost your program, and we're here to help enhance that program. As you can see here, we have a dedicated US team focused on your vision from the program and helping to facilitate that initial program proposal, as well as all aspects of the pre-departure process. We take special care in developing budgets and proposals that align to your learning outcomes at a price point your students can afford. Our goal is to support you in programming that is accessible, sustainable, and enriching for all students on your campus. So this is our US-based team, and our US-based team works very closely with our teams abroad. So during that development process, our US team works in concert with our international colleagues who will facilitate your program on the ground. Our staff members abroad come from a range of backgrounds, as Emily mentioned her background herself, but all possess extensive academic experience and expertise in international education. They love to collaborate with faculty leaders on unique program designs, utilizing their firsthand local knowledge and their extensive networks to facilitate engaging experiences for students. Additionally, our custom programs enjoy the same level of on-site support as our standard programs do, far beyond simple logistical assistance. The folks on this screen are just a small snapshot of all of the staff that we have overseas. They're here to support all aspects of the custom program process, from program proposal all the way to on-site support and post-program support. So let's talk a little bit about the locations where we can offer custom and faculty-led programs. As you'll see from this screen, we have quite a few locations available. Our CEA study centers shown here have a full service student and faculty support offered, as well as extensive experience in the areas of curricular development, program management, and experiential learning. We have our own classrooms and spaces offering all the amenities you'd expect from an educational institution. That being said, our support is not limited to our study center locations. We regularly host custom and faculty-led programs in several of our other destinations, and we continually evaluate our newest locations to add to this list. In these cities, we partner with local institutions to secure classroom space and use our networks to secure things such as guest lectures, business visits, and other enhancements that Emily will talk about in just a moment. It's important to note that CEA does not offer custom programs in locations where we do not have on-site staff, extensive infrastructure, or standard program offerings. We made this decision deliberately as we feel that the robust academic, logistical, and health and safety support that CEA is known for requires a deep commitment to an international destination. So finally, before getting into developing the program process, I'd like to elaborate on CEA's strengths. As I mentioned earlier, the component of 3-week programs is where we specialize. We focus on academically rigorous, academically focused programs that are at least 3 weeks in length, with one destination serving as the home base. Our focus is on immersive educational experiences in the host destination, such as residence halls or permanent living, as opposed to hotels, local classroom space, and peer mentoring programs, in addition to academically relevant site visits, cultural activities, and excursions. These programs allow CEA to add value based on our expertise and our desire to inspire academic excellence and make a positive impact. Of course, we understand that different learning outcomes are best gained through different program models. We're always open to discussing any program model with you to determine whether we'd be a good fit. And that first initial step will start with your university relations director. So now I'm going to pass it over to Emily to talk about developing a program and what that process looks like.
Thanks, Seth. We expect that you would come to us after determining a little bit with faculty and within the study abroad office, what it is that you would like to offer your students, what sort of an experience abroad. And so there are different components, obviously. Most of them are somewhat obvious, but important to mention as to what it is that you need to make your program a success and as close to what it is that you want it to be. So, so there are different kinds of academic structures that we will support. And one or two of these may not be ones that you have actually considered already for any program that you might have on your minds at the moment. So the classic one would be a faculty-led program. So a program during which a faculty member would lead a group abroad and teaches a specific course that is meant for that location that they will teach in. A group program is one in which we work together to create something that that CEA or our partner schools will teach on site. So it does not include a faculty member, but it is specific to the group of students that you will be sending abroad. And then there's the hybrid option, which would be a faculty member in teaching your students, as well as a one or two or several courses that CEA or our partner institutions will teach for you to supplement or complement what it is that your topic of instruction abroad is. Then, of course, we need to determine when it is and for how long and where your program will take place. So we are equipped to be able to accommodate just about any term of program that you would like to have happen. So J terms, Maymesters, winter terms, in terms of more shorter length programs. Semesters obviously are classics in spring and fall, quarters or trimesters as well. And then we can do full summer terms, so something that could go as long as 8 weeks, a Maymester, or even a session that will last as few as 3 weeks, or up to 6 weeks, and anywhere in between. Those are probably the most popular, but we can accommodate just about anything. Seth has already discussed our locations and also the duration that we strive with. So we want to make sure that your students and your faculty are on site to get the most out of the location that they're in terms of what the academics can offer them, but also kind of settling in, learning about the place where they are studying in, and 3 weeks seems to be that sweet spot. Anything less, it might not be quite enough for a program to be as good as we would want it to be for your students. Then, of course, there are the academic enhancements. And this is where we really feel that we can help you to make the most of a program that is abroad for your students. So obviously, we will, of course, we get the local bells that Margarita knows well. I apologize for any extra sound here. But we shine in this this kind of area in adding and enhancing to your program. So guest lectures, we will call upon all of our contacts, be them our staff wise, but also the professors that teach for us on a regular basis, and any other people that we relate with on a regular basis to help give your students a better look at cultural or very specific topic-based activities that will enhance the academics. Site visits, so anything that has to do with something outside of the classroom. Business visits, which are typically a combination of guest lectures and site visits. So a tour of a company and maybe a deep dive into what it has, what is specific to it, what makes it particular and important to the topic that your students are studying. Cultural engagement activities. which could range anywhere from a trip down a river to something akin to a language exchange. And then, of course, excursions, which be they day trips or overnight. Anything to help your students understand more about not just the city that they're located in and studying in, but also the environs. And then volunteering, service learning, and or internships could be additional enhancements that you may want to add to your program, but availability will depend upon the location that you will be studying in. As well, housing is something that we would need to determine in concert with you. So we have a plethora of options, and they may vary according to location and what is typically on offer. So apartments, so shared apartments for your students, residence halls, homestays, and then there may be apartment or homestay hybrids. So something kind of like a foyer in Paris, in which students may have to sign a language waiver saying that they will only speak French there, or something that's similar to kind of like dorm style living but has a cultural component to it. So there are lots of different options, and we're ready to help determine which would fit in best with the type of program that you want to offer your students. So once you've kind of determined more or less what it is that you want your program, the shape that your program should be taking, where it's going to be, how long it's going to be, whether you want it to be faculty run, faculty led, or if you want it to be a group or hybrid option, then what you want to do, as Seth had mentioned, is be in touch with your university relations director within your area, and with him or her, you will work to create a request for proposal. That then goes to our team in Phoenix, and they, together with the on-site team, will come up with a budget and a proposal according to what it is that you have requested, and then it will go to you for your review. And then from that, we can also go a little back and forth to make sure that we have finessed everything that there is, to make sure that that the proposal is up to your standards and includes everything that you need, reaches your price point, or even doesn't. So that we come up with something that both parties are happy with, and is something that will run, and you'll be able to market this to your students to make it a reality. So some professors, including Margarita, who's listening to us right now, have actually brought students here for several years. One of which was not able to be with us today, but she was able to send us along a testimonial. Her name is Molly Morrison. She's a teacher of Italian language at Ohio University. She actually has come to us for 10 years. And summer of 2001 did not happen, but she will be bringing students in December. Hopefully she'll be able to bring everybody back again as normal in 2022 as well. But I wanted to read her testimonial to you. I have been working with the staff of CEA Florence since 2007, which means that she was working with us for several years, or 2 years before we actually got her on site. I've always found them to be most helpful to me. I appreciate how the staff listens to what I wish to accomplish on my programs and works with me to help me achieve these goals. Over the years, there have been things that I've wanted to do that were often unusual or out of the norm. CEA staff always aided in preparations required to make those things happen. If they weren't possible, they were able to find solutions or alternatives. And in some cases, the alternatives were even better. So I mentioned before that, my staff loves working with custom programs specifically for this, because some requests actually push us out of our normal range of operation, and that is extremely exciting and satisfying to us. So if you push a challenge our way, we are super excited to make it work in the best way possible. And Molly is just one example of making that work. Margarita is another. Actually, if I could take 1 second, because I know Margarita cannot be unmuted, and it's too bad with this, but in terms of duration and just making particular programs very unique, Margarita brings a program that, that allows her students to get an entire year's worth of Italian credit within 1 semester. And that's something that we had never considered doing here until she came along and asked for it to happen. And it's been a very successful program, and I thank her for that.
Perfect. So to talk a little bit about marketing and recruitment, once we have that program proposal ready and we are ready to kind of move forward into the next step, CEA is here to help you market and recruit the program, because we want these programs to be successful. We want these programs to be sustainable. And what we find is that in many cases, when a program has been running for year after year, there's a bit of a following on campus. Students talk to their peers, as we know that is where students really value that information is from their peers. But especially for new programs, this can be a challenging process to get that information out in front of students, and we're here to help with that process. So a couple ways that we assist you, the faculty, the study abroad office, in this is through our marketing and recruitment tools. So we have a marketing and recruitment student toolkit that we will send you as part of the initial proposal process, shortly after that proposal process, to show you, everything that we can do as part of the program. In regards to recruitment. So whether that's providing photos, videos, program flyers, posters, PowerPoint templates, and presentations, anything we can do to help supplement what you are already doing, we're more than happy to do that. We're also happy to come to campus or conduct info sessions remotely. For instance, I have one this week for a program that we're hosting over Zoom. So that can be info sessions, tabling, classroom presentations. We're more than happy to help through that process there. In addition to marketing and recruitment, another way that we are committed to ensuring the success of programs, but also to ensure access to education abroad opportunities, is through our CEA scholarships. We, of course, have scholarships available for standard programming, but we also have scholarships available for custom and faculty-led programs. These scholarships range anywhere from $300 to $1,000. There are a couple requirements that you'll see on the screen in front of you. So, for example, the program does need to be 3 weeks in length or longer, and the student does need to have a 3.0 GPA, a minimum 3.0 GPA. We are very proud to offer these scholarships because it does, again, help students to access these types of programming for any type of student available. So I'm going to turn it over to Emily again for some information on pre-departure support as part of the program.
Thank you, Seth. So we offer essentially 4 ways of supporting students, study abroad office, faculty, and also families in the pre-departure phase. So the My CEA account or portal is an online way for students to have essentially all of the information that they need to be aware of or on top of in the pre-departure phase. They also have quick contact with somebody like Sharon, who will be specific to their program, being a custom program student, so that she also is able to help them keep on top of everything that they need to do, be it immigration issues and tasks, or just informing themselves about what it is that they need to have prepared, tips about packing, things like that. You name it, it's on the My CEA account. We also do a program planning call with our Phoenix Custom Programs staffing, the URD, the University Relations Director, on-site staff, and the faculty and the study abroad office for the university. So this is a video call that we are able to see one another, share a screen, and discuss from day one to the end date of the program, what it is that what it is that will be happening, what may be entailed, are there any loose ends, is anything unclear? All of that stuff is just talked through to make sure that that there are no question marks anymore, and we're all on the same page about how the program will roll out over time. If a university would like, CEA can assist with facilitating or even designing a pre-departure orientation. Those could either be done online or in person with either a Phoenix staff member or else the University Relations Director. So this is an option that we offer as support to anybody who may need a little bit more kind of facility, let's say, in and use some of our expertise in preparing your students to go abroad. And lastly, we also do pre-departure advising. So our teams are available to advise students, faculty, and families in leading up to the departure date to ensure that everybody feels comfortable as students leave home and or campus to come with us abroad.
Perfect. So we're just our last section talking about why partner with CEA. What are the benefits of partnering with CEA? So to get started, Emily's going to talk a little bit more about our commitment to quality and academic programming.
So we are truly committed to academic programming to quality academic program, that meets the needs of students, faculty, and our university partners. As I said, these are some of the most satisfying parts of our jobs. And we feel that we do, and we certainly try at all times to rise up to every occasion that's given to us. We feel that this is our way to shine beyond our regular academic programming that we do ourselves, and it's a commitment to ourselves and obviously to you. We also work with an established international and extensive infrastructure and staff expertise, both in the US and internationally. Our academic and professional networks allow us to source unique co-curricular opportunities that support each program's specific learning outcomes. At the same time, our established connections with vendors and service providers and our operational scale enable us to effectively negotiate and provide competitive pricing. This is one more testimonial that we have from a professor who has prepared programs with us because of COVID several times, but has so far only come once with us to Florence. But she is absolutely dedicated to study abroad in general. But we've been speaking a lot recently, and I asked her to write something down for us that I could share today. Based on my experience, this is Trini Kalava from Miami University in Florida. She teaches marketing, specifically luxury marketing at Miami and also here in Florence then. Based on my experience, having taught in Europe and South America with various providers, I can say that CEA on-site staff add qualitative value in 4 important ways. Dedication. She says, you all care greatly about the well-being of all participants, both mentally and intellectually. Empathy. You have great empathy with the students and embrace their needs in a very intuitive fashion. Flexibility. You always go out of your way to attend to our needs and remain vigilant and flexible as opportunities rise that align to our program objectives. And mentoring, or as a role model. She says, you are sophisticated and well-rounded in education, travel, and experiences, which is what we are trying to give our students that study abroad.
So Emily talked a little bit earlier about the program model. CEA provides enormous flexibility in both program options and inclusions. From an academic standpoint, we offer 3 different program models, as Emily mentioned prior. Our faculty-led programs are group or are hybrid. We can also collaborate on course development specifically for your program. Beyond coursework, each program's on-site inclusions can be fully customized as it relates to the co-curricular activities, excursions, transportation, housing types, and much more for each individual program. We look at each program as an individual program, not as a pre-prescribed program based off of the academic discipline. We also are proud of the robust support services we provide. We've talked about several of these already, but everything from program design to budget conscious pricing options, pre-departure support, as well as marketing and recruitment.
Finally, one of the key reasons universities like to work and partner with organizations that, like to work with partner organizations relates to the health, safety, and emergency services that we can offer. CEA is very proud of our assistance and support in this area. We prioritize the safety and well-being of your students, faculty, and staff, and enroll all program participants in a mandatory medical insurance and emergency support plan. On site, we have established emergency response procedures and safety protocols aligned with the Forum on Education Abroad standard of good practice.
And while we're talking about health and safety, I do want to take a moment to address custom programs in COVID-19. And Emily will be able to speak to this in more detail, given the fact that she has had some custom faculty-led programs on site during COVID. But a couple things to mention for those that are not aware, CEA has instituted a COVID-19 vaccination requirement. This requirement is in place for all program participants, which includes students, faculty, and faculty guests utilizing any CEA services. We've established new sanitizing and safety protocols and procedures at all of our locations, which align with local recommended practices as well as the US CDC. That includes things such as masking, use of other PPE, social distancing, and regular sanitizing of our study centers, as well as working with our partner institutions there. We have updated housing options and policies to be able to better accommodate students through this challenging period, whether that is because a student needs to quarantine or just limiting the number of students per room in our housing. And we are working with local authorities to ensure that we are providing the best possible environment for our students. Of course, health and safety is our #1 priority for all program participants, and we are ensuring that we are continuing to provide that high level of health and safety support. Our health and safety team, made up of our director of health and safety as well as our manager of health and safety, are regularly monitoring COVID cases and hospitalization numbers to ensure that we are making the best informed decisions. So that may mean that we may need to change an excursion, or it may mean that we may need to update COVID protocols halfway through the program. We will, of course, keep you updated as soon as we make any of those decisions with program health and safety in mind. Emily, do you want to share a little bit about on-site programs on site?
Sure. So we currently have students on site here for the fall semester, but we also had our own standard students here this summer, as well as a custom program faculty-led this July. I have to say, lucky or not, we had a wonderful time. The students had a great time. They, for better or for worse, they saw Florence in a different way than their peers had previously, and probably after them as well, because it was still before Florence really had tourism pick up that they were here. But we, in anticipation of their arrival, ensured that both with all of our local support and colleagues, as well as our colleagues in Phoenix, ensure that we were up to date with all of the CDC guidances and the Italian government guidances. We informed all of our students that of what they were going to expect while on site, such as masks are mandatory. Just before they came here, we had a curfew still in place, things like that. But also we adopted a bunch of things in the study center that we had never had to before, such as distancing, sanitizing and cleaning much more often than we ever have. What else? Masks here for everyone, students and professors alike. All of these things that we felt very comfortable running a program at that time. We still do. We are constantly ensuring ourselves that we're doing the right things, we're following local guidelines, everyone is staying safe, and with all of the things in place that we have established, we're having a wonderful semester. The faculty this summer felt very comfortable, both with their students outside in the study center. I can't say that we're anything more than just tickled and pleased with the way that this year has gone.
Perfect. So now we'll open up to questions. Please feel free to put any questions that you have in the Q&A feature on the webinar, and we will work to answer those. So yeah, please feel free to put any of them there.
We'll start with the first one that we have. As to COVID monitoring, are you regularly testing or testing only if we have symptoms? Are we contact tracing? So I can only speak for Florence, but what we are doing is we're not doing regular tests. We are testing only if someone is symptomatic or has been identified as a close contact. So far, so good. And I don't have any wood here to knock on, but we have been completely testless, except for the students who have had to leave for the summer at the end of their program and test to get onto a plane to go back home. But that is our plan, that only if someone is symptomatic will they be tested. Now, God forbid somebody does test positive. We have a connection with a local hospital or a local clinic who will facilitate all of the testing by going to students' homes to make sure that they do tests in the homes and they don't. They can quarantine and actually isolate until they potentially would need to quarantine as they wait for their results. And we have, if COVID had any sort of silver lining, it was to help with delivery services in Italy. So students will never feel isolated beyond having to be on their own, in terms of the fact that they will always be able to be reached. And if there is any problem with getting something from the door downstairs up to their apartment door, we will ensure that they have the help to get everything that they need as they get healthy or wait to turn negative. I hope that answered, Kathleen. If not, please let me know.
So getting some questions about more information about COVID and our protocols. I am going to share our CEA COVID protocols in the chat. So this is a great resource, and we are continually updating this. So please feel free to use this, share it with any faculty or other staff at your university. The other thing, I know we got a question about, will the presentation and slides be shared? We can definitely share those. In addition, as Christina mentioned, we'll be sending out the recording. We do have a great digital custom program brochure that we can send out as well. I actually can link it here in the chat. That's another great resource there to use. I know we received a question about local representatives. I'm not sure if you're referring to your university relations director or staff on the ground. We've luckily been able to retain staff through COVID, which we are very, very happy about. So if you've run a program in the past, you're most likely working with the same people. Oh yes, your staff member from the Midwest, John Jorgensen, is still at CEA. We'd be more than happy to chat with you. I will make sure that he gets this information and reaches out. But yes, please, that conversation is a great conversation to start with your university relations directors as we're continuing to rebuild study abroad. We are here to willing and ready and excited to have those conversations. Any other questions that we can help answer? While we're waiting for any last questions, other thing I wanted to mention is many of you may be in a situation where you have faculty that have led programs abroad themselves for years now, and your institution may be changing policies to require that a faculty member uses a provider. I know these are difficult conversations, and we're here to help through that process and through those difficult conversations with faculty. We are more than happy to set up an individual call with you or with a faculty member to talk through what that looks like, and also the fact that this is still their program. CEA is there to facilitate and enhance, not to replace their program. And especially right now, as health and safety is even more of in our spotlight, that is one of the reasons that we're here. As we mentioned earlier, the why partner with CEA, one of those critical components is health and safety. And we're happy to help frame that conversation as you have some of those conversations with faculty that are not used to working with a program partner. Great question. We got a question about when will we inform participants on fall programs about scholarship application deadlines. We are actually looking at revamping our entire scholarship application process to make sure that those deadlines are earlier. So that information will be coming available soon. I would imagine in the next couple of weeks, we're working on completely revamping that process because we have gotten the feedback before that the decision dates have been a bit later than ideal. And we really value that feedback. So I know our academic team is working on a revamp of those scholarships in that process. Okay, we got a question about Maymester faculty-led programs. How far in advance would you ideally like to start the conversation and proposal process? This is an excellent question, and the answer is really the more lead time you have, the better. Ideally, 18 months is ideal, at least a year out. Because remember, it's not just getting a proposal together, but it's also does that proposal process need to go through particular channels at your institution for approval? And then there's the recruitment process. So there are various factors that go into that, but the longer you have, the better. And that's something where it's even if you're thinking about next May, having those conversations now with your university relations regional director is it's a great time right now to start having some of those conversations, but no later, I would say, than December, January for next May. This May at this point is a little late to be having some of those conversations, although please reach out to us and we will see what we can do in any situation. We want to, of course, support our partners in the best way possible. Perfect. Any last minute questions? I will advance the slides to all of our contact information. So we are here for any questions that you may have as you work through these processes, as you build new programs, as you rebuild study abroad opportunities on your campuses. Please look at us as an extension of your office and your campus community. We are here to help support you all, support your students, support your faculty through innovative and academically enriching programming. And we thank you all for taking the time to attend the webinar today. And we look forward to working with you in the future.
Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you all.